Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me alright. That's a little bit sensitive. So basically, I'm just going to run you through, what we've got so far in terms of the demo, and then some ideas I was sort of riffing with Sean earlier. So to begin with, we've got the Earth, and we can just spin that like a globe. With your hands. It's very, very easy. I don't have to hold a trigger or anything. I'll just do that. You can spin it round. I can rotate it anywhere. I'll just keep leads over there. So I've done a little bit of shader work. I don't know if you can really tell on your screen, but if I sort of move my head around, you might be able to detect on your screen like a depth between the clouds and the land there. I've added a atmosphere. It's only quite basic, to be honest, but I've upscaled all the textures as well, so these are all more detailed. The clouds look a lot better, all this sort of stuff. And here we are with England, and the button for Leeds. Now, the way this currently works is that if I just put my hand over it, there's an invisible sphere that will collide with that cube, and then it'll instantly teleport me to the Leeds map. Which I don't know if that's something you prefer, but I was going to suggest that if we have something like, if we're using this particular system, like we're just moving the Earth around, then maybe these buttons is something where I have to, clench my hand and then press the trigger to activate the button. But right now, if I just press it, I will teleport to the next level. However, there was another idea I was talking to Shan about, where I could instead have it where we're kind of stood at more of a distance and we see the Earth, but there's a UI right here, and instead of you interacting with the Earth, I can simply just press a button on the UI for a different location if we're having multiple locations, and the Earth will just sort of rotate to that position I give it, and then automatically play a transition animation that will send you to Leeds. Or I could do that plus show preview of the area instead of it doing the automatic teleportation. So you can press the Leeds button, it'll show a preview of Leeds, like in front of you on a table here or something, and then then you can just press OK, and then it'll send you there if that's what you prefer. So that's completely up to you guys. Obviously, all this walking and everything, it doesn't have to be there. You could just spawn here so you can reach out and just grab it. So I'll just go to the demo of Leeds now. And, as you can see, all the water is reacting to the physics and everything, which is nice. So that'll come in really handy when it's actually being animated and doing the simulation. I haven't done it yet, but some of these objects I can turn into collidable objects with the water. So what'll happen is, essentially what's happening around me is when I move, I create these ripples and things. If I have that on these, it might look quite nice as well. But currently that's not particularly important, since I could implement that whenever. Now, the idea we had here was points of interest. I've not put the point of interest in just yet, but I am still working on it. It could be a system where instead of pointing and clicking a button to activate the point of interest, I could do a gaze system where you just look at that, and then a little rotary loader will show up, and then it'll just load the point of interest, and what will happen is you will teleport over there, facing the direction I tell the player to be facing, so they can then see the events unravel. Which would be really cool. You know, I already did a system like that for my last project, so, and it worked out really nicely. Now, but on the last system, obviously, it wasn't a gaze one. You actually just clicked it with your controller. The next thing we were talking about was rewinding time, which is a really cool idea. Really, really cool. But the way the simulation is set up is it's like a baked-in animation in the mesh and Alembic. And rewinding that is going to be a bit tricky. But it's going to be more simple than trying to allow a player to have like a slider where they can rewind the actual timeline, which is the sequencer. I don't even think that's possible to interact with the sequencer from inside the game. I'm not sure. It could be. But even if I did that, it wouldn't actually rewind the animations anyway. It would just, you know, anything that was animated specifically with the sequencer would get, you know, reversed. But the flooding animation wouldn't. Because that's not animated in the sequencer. It's just triggered and then the animation plays. So I slightly have to go about it in a different way, but I think that's going to be easier than trying to do the sequencer. And it should be just a matter of telling the Alembic file to play in reverse. And the way I thought of implementing that functionality is when the person is at the point of interest, they can, you know, they'll have a little UI that's just there in front of them. And then they can just sort of press a button or turn a knob, and that will, you know, reverse the events that have just happened. But I don't think I can give them enough flexibility to be able to stop it halfway through. I'll just have to see about that. But of all things, that's probably going to be one of the bigger features of the project. And I did look on the marketplace and have a bit of a research, and there's a few similar systems, but they don't really incorporate, you know, like the Alembic animations and things. So I would have to just see if I can put that in one of those systems, possibly. And the heat map, yep, just a little bit of Photoshop work to match it to my textures, and then we're good to go, really, because I can have that just animated using the sequencer, you know, a much more manual sense of animation, and then it'll just, you know, the earth itself will start to deteriorate in a way and show the heat map or the damaged areas, for example, depending on what you prefer. So just have a think about that, which direction you prefer to go in, any of the choices, you know, if you really, what you would prefer for each choice and whether you want each choice, you know. And of course, as for this water, I can change its colour, I can make it muddy, and I can make the underneath, you know, more debris and have things floating across it and all that. So yeah, so that's all of it so far. It runs nice. It's not skipping, it's not buggy. The recording might show that, because it's a bit resource heavy, to be honest, the recording. But I got all this all optimised nice, so should be alright. Right, so yeah, thanks, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.